My name's Jordan Goetzer and I'm a research scientist here at the Department of Biodiversity, Conservation and Attractions. And my role is to monitor and research fish assemblages up and down the Western Australian coastline. So a big part of my role as a research scientist over the years has been looking into the effects of sanctuary zones and what benefits they provide to marine fishes. So on average, there's roughly 30% more fish within the boundaries of sanctuary zones and over 50% more biomass, which is the size of fish. So basically we are doing a good job in conserving the biodiversity of marine fishes. But what our research has also found is there's certain factors that influence whether or not these sanctuary zones do provide benefits.
My name is Ewan Harvey. I'm a Professor of Marine Science at Curtin University. I'm a fish ecologist and I work pretty much all over the world, but over the last 20 years I've been doing a lot of work on the south coast of Western Australia. The research that we've done on the south coast shows that the fish assemblages are changing and that there are very distinct fish assemblages as you move down the coast, so there are unique bioregions. From the work that we did in 2005, 2006 and again in 2010, and in 2018-19, we've seen that there is a shift in the fish assemblages every year that's associated with increasing sea surface temperatures. So over the last 20 years, the changes that we've seen on the south coast are northern species, and particularly some of the fish species, becoming more abundant as you come around the capes and head towards Albany, Bremer and Esperance. And we've seen the composition, so the assemblage of the fish, actually change. The other things that we're really noticing is that there is a change in the numbers and the length of some of those species which are really popular and very long-lived. Things like western blue groper, which lived 80 years, foxfish, which are very similar. Also things like queen snapper, which used to be called schoolfish. And now you'll see ones and twos and not schools of 20 or 30. So those sorts of changes have occurred in the 20 years since I've been going down there diving.
My name is Paul Day and I'm the Director and Principal Consultant at Carrijoa Marine Environmental Consulting. The purpose of the review was really to see what knowledge had been gathered since the original review, which was done in 1994. So we needed to know what research had been done on the south coast, what we'd learnt about the south coast since then, and whether the areas that had been recommended for reservation, i.e. the marine parks down there, were still relevant. So that involved interviews, literature searches, collation of the information, searching databases, and yeah, really trying to update the knowledge on the south coast. Probably the main finding that that came out of this review was that in terms of the ecological importance, the areas that were identified in the original report were still quite valid. And so bearing in mind that in '94 those areas were pretty much identified based on geomorphology, because there was very, very little known about the whole area, including research. So the information that we found provided enough evidence to suggest that those areas were still good areas for reservation. And in actual fact, there could also be some movement to those boundaries to take in important areas like seagrass habitat, for example.
I think the south coast is an area that is largely undervalued and undescribed. Because the marine environment is so harsh down there, there isn't that much research that's occurring. And it is a rugged place to work. We do need more research down there, and we need local community groups to actually be engaged in that research so they can actually understand what an amazing treasure they've actually got.
It's such an important area, very species rich, and this was coming through in the research that we found. So there's lots to be learnt and there's lots to be discovered yet.